Hey guys, and welcome to another video. I'm so sorry I haven't posted one in ages. I have been super duper busy. Like, for example, this week is probably the most busiest week of my entire year so far. On Thursday I have house drama, which is a big school event, and I've co-written the script, I've co-directed it, I've somehow become like the main character, so loads and loads of lines for that and lots of rehearsals. On the Friday after, I have a showcase. If you guys know, I do Stagecoach, and I've been there for 10 years now, and this is my last ever performance, and so it's a really big deal. I've got some friends coming, I've got monologues and songs and dances to learn for it, and then on the Saturday I have my best friend's 18th birthday, and so there's lots of planning that I've been doing with that, and so yeah, really busy, so I really am sorry. I mean, like, on top of that as well, just in case, I've got my mocks as well, and I also have my Newcastle interview, woo, which is in 2 weeks. And so I thought, seeing as some of my friends at school as well are kind of preparing for their interviews, I'm also preparing for my interviews, and hopefully you guys also are. So I thought I'll make a little video on preparation for interviews. A little thing to note, please do realise that this is simply a here's how I prepare for my interviews, as opposed to a here's how you should prepare, because none of this is like tried and tested. Most of it is probably common sense, and like I said, there's no way of knowing whether this works or not. Please don't take this as like this is all you need to do. It really probably is, and there's probably so much more. But how am I doing? So if any of you are wondering, in terms of my medicine application, so far I have one interview. So out of my 5 options, I applied to York for biology as my backup, and I've got that, and I got it at AAB instead of 3As, which is great, sorted. I also applied to Manchester, Bristol, Newcastle and Southampton for medicine, and out of those 4, currently I've only heard back from Newcastle, and I've got an interview for there in 2.5-ish weeks time, which is so exciting, very nerve-wracking, but like, whoo. And with the other 3, I'm not massively worried because, and I think this is a massive because lots of my friends who don't have interviews, and I have friends who have wonderful stats in the sense of their UK CAT and their GCSEs, and yet they have no interviews or anything. And I would say, especially to those who are watching in a similar position, please do not worry. If you think about it, universities start giving out interviews from November all the way to like March. Like, that is a long time. And I was talking to my cousin who went for dentistry last year, and she was like, she only heard back from any uni, in January. And I'm there like, wow, okay, that is a long time. So in a sense, I'm sort of like fortunate that I'm like, actually, I should be grateful. At least I've heard something. But if you haven't heard something, it is not a bad thing. I know some people are like, but I swear they take like the best people. Different unis are different. Some unis only start giving interviews in January onwards, some straight ahead in November. It really does vary. If you want to put your mind give your mind some peace, then do your research on the uni and see where they stand on that. But my first kind of tip in terms of like what I'm doing for for interview preparation is finding out what kind of style of interview that university offers. And so I was so silly. So when I first researched this, Newcastle on some websites said traditionals. I was like, cool, I'm just gonna learn this, go with this, fine. Then, oh my god, if I didn't see this, I would have been flopped so hard. But on another website, I saw that it was MMI, and I was there like, okay. And then I emailed them, which I definitely recommend. I emailed and I was like, right, can you just tell me, what is this interview like? And they are, I'm pretty sure universities are like allowed to and like legally obliged to tell you what it is, obviously no details. So for example, I was told that Newcastle is a 7-station, 7-minute MMI, which was, that was good enough to know. And so please definitely do your research, because I know lots of universities in the last few years have changed, so make sure that, the data and the information that you're accessing is up to date. You do not want to go to your university on the day prepared for a traditional interview and it turns out to be MMI. That's a little bit, yeah. So in terms of how I'm preparing, basically on Google Docs I have comprised a massive list of questions that could possibly be asked, whether in a traditional or MMI interview, because I definitely think they overlap. And all these interviews I pretty much just got from the internet. Lots of searching of questions asked in medicine interviews, whether that be in America or in the UK or different universities, because there's just so much that they could ask. But saying that, often most questions are quite similar in terms of the things that you need to talk about and the experiences that you might reflect off. So that's basically what I've done. I've got probably like 100 questions, and it's like a 10-page document filled with questions, which I probably only answered about 20% of. The rest I still need to go through. I'm sure there are some duplicates. But I think that's something that I'm kind of thinking the way that I see it. For example, some questions about like ethics, there are similar answers that could be given for 2 different situations. It's just about kind of tailoring the answer for the situation. And some about, give an example where you showed leadership, give an example where there was a problem and you kind of had to solve it or overcome it. The situation I might give or the example I might give might be like the same example, but just looking at it at a different perspective. And so it's kind of just, I'm using that and I can just use it again. And so yeah, with the answers, there's just lots and lots of writing. I think one thing with medicine interviews I've realised is the amount of reading I had to do, lots of research. Because I think my biggest nightmare is going into the interview and them asking me something that I just blank out, and in my head I go, I don't know what that means. That is my worst nightmare, because I've definitely been in that situation before. Not obviously in medicine interviews, in different situations, and I hate it because I feel so silly, I feel stupid, and the entire rest of that interview or that process just crumbles, and I don't want that to happen. I want to go in there feeling like I know my stuff, I can answer whatever you want to give me, which obviously lots and lots to do before I get to that stage. So in terms of research, BMJ is really great, and I suppose once I'm answering the questions, the more I answer them, the more I realise this is where the blanks in my knowledge are, this is what I need to read up on, this is what I need to watch more of, read more of. There are so many things on YouTube as well. I definitely recommend so many videos, whether from companies or from YouTubers and medical students who are like, look, I've on my second year in uni, here's more information about the interview process. So helpful, I think, to hear it from someone else's perspective and see like what you could improve on. But yeah, definitely. And also documentaries. Like recently I watched a documentary on the NHS, which I found so helpful. I definitely recommend. There's so much you can read up on, and even if it's not an online thing, talk to people. For example, I spoke to my auntie who works in like the pharmacy sector of the NHS, and she told me lots about it. I'm over the weekend meeting with a family friend who's a medical student. There is so much that you can do. So make use of it. And it is really tough because I feel like with medicine I'm just there like, there's so much I need to know, so much, and how do I know exactly like how much is like the right amount? Like I feel like it's like an unlimited amount of knowledge, and it's like, I've got 2 weeks, I'm in year 13, how much knowledge do I need to know? So that's being really tricky basically. What else is there? I don't know, that's kind of just how I'm going about it, is I'm doing my research and I'm reading up on stuff and I'm watching videos and I'm listening to things and I'm trying to just get down as much as possible. I'm reflecting on my experiences, my work experience, any lectures that I went to, all the things that I really spoke about, I'm trying to put it in. Also really important, read over your personal statement, things that you mentioned there, make sure you have read that book, make sure you know what you did in your work experience, and or you understand that project that you did. Please make sure you do that. Don't be in that situation where you go, I didn't actually do that, or I don't really know what that's about. That's not for your interview, please don't. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm doing. Not really. That's pretty much it that I'm doing for preparation. And then nearest to the time, so currently I have probably about 2.5 weeks, so probably about next week and the week after, I will start asking friends and family to be doing like mock interviews, because I think with people who are working in healthcare, it's more of a give me advice on content, and with just friends and family, give me advice on my technique. Am I being concise? Am I being coherent in the way my arguments are presented? Do I really make sense? Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about? All of those kinds of things. But yeah, that's kind of how it's going. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I want to talk about with interviews? Not really. That's what I'm doing. I hope that helps. I mean, this is more, like I said, this is less of a what you should do, more of a what I'm doing, and hopefully it works out. I don't know. I've still got my 2.5 weeks, still got my laptop's there, and I'm just thinking so many questions to do. Oh gosh. Hopefully we get through it, and hopefully it goes well. Yeah, I hope this has given you perhaps some ideas or maybe some reassurance if you're like, I'm not that prepared, Manisha's also not that prepared, it's okay, you know. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment down below any questions you have for me, or on Instagram, lots of you like to message me on Instagram, at bitofafangirl, if you want to ask me any questions. Also check out my own YouTube channel, Bit of a Fangirl, where I post here and then. And subscribe to the student room, of course, of course, of course. That is all from me. As you can probably tell, I'm feeling a little bit ill. You can probably tell. So I'm going to try and rest up for a bit and then get cracking on with my preparation. Woo! But yeah, that's all from me, and I shall see you sometime soon. Bye!